Good morning and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this second video presentation on the very basics of slides. Now, if you go back and watch the first video, we kind of introduced how slides works, and it's a presentation software used to present information, and you can present visual objects or audio objects. And we kind of briefly showed what was in the drop-down menus here and the main tool menu here. Now, today's content, I want to talk about themes and the way things look on the screen very briefly, and I want to talk about animations and transitions, okay? So over here, you can kind of see right now that we are in the simple light theme. Every time you load up a blank slides, this is the theme that you'll run with. Now, if you want to change the slides, all you have to do is choose slide theme or change theme, and it'll bring this up over here. Now, for this one, I think I want to use Paradigm because I think it looks good, but things aren't perfect with Paradigm. But notice what it did here. We have my first presentation done by me. We got this neat little area down here that kind of divides the slide. If I wanted some text down here, I could add it. But specifically, I wanted to take a look at this slide here. Notice what the slide theme did, okay? The theme is basically a set of basic information that a programmer decided, hey, this is a good overall theme to use for general content that a user who's creating a presentation who wants it to look a little bit more than basic can use to set their presentation up. Now, when you choose the theme, and if you already have things created, it'll automatically do things with that theme that either make sense or don't make sense, or you may want or you may not want. Let's take a look at this slide, all right? Here are some things that I like about this slide. If you remember from yesterday's video or the other day's video, you'll remember that we put a picture over here, we put some main ideas and bullet points over here, and we gave this thing a title. But look what it did to the title here, okay? It gave the title a white background, which stands out really good against that deep, rich navy blue. However, that deep, rich navy blue doesn't necessarily work well with a dark font. Now, I can make an argument that the author really wants that dark text over in the white background, which really works. Let me show you. I'm just going to leave this picture the same size. Just going to drag it over here. It's not perfect. We'll just drag it there for now. And let's move this over here. And you can see here that the text stands out there, and then I can manipulate the size of the picture should I choose to. Well, let's say I didn't want that, and I want the picture in the white background. Okay, that's just a personal preference if you wanted to do that. And you're like, I want to override the theme there. Well, that's fine. What I would do then is go ahead and take this picture, kind of line it in the center. Did you see how that line showed me where the line was there? This line right here that just appeared right in the center of the slide, that tells me the center of the picture is aligned to the center of the slide horizontally, okay? And then there was a secondary line right there that kind of gave me a point where, hey, the points over here are really close or equal to the points over here, and it matches up with the center itself of the slide, or that mark 5, which is the center of the slide itself. And that works, okay, in this case. And I like it there, and I think I would stay with that if I were making this presentation. Now, what I wouldn't stick with is the text over here, because you just cannot see that dark gray against that dark color there. So what I would do is I would change the color of this font. I want to go ahead and get rid of the themes button here so I can see my text colors. And I'm just going to choose a simple lighter gray to see it. That way it still stands out with the title itself. And in fact, I would even make this title just a little bit larger. And now things really pop and really stand out to that. Okay. Now, the second part of the video, I'm going to address animations and transitions. Okay. Now, obviously, I'm in a middle school class, so I'm going to do this at the middle school level. But if you're an adult watching this, I hope this helps you out. But first, coffee. That makes me happy. All right. Anyway, an animation is something or a special effect that applies to a single element within the slide. That element might include texts, shapes, images, or really anything that you can insert into the slide itself. You can put an animation onto it. And the reason you want to do an animation is to bring emphasis to that single idea. Now, in middle school, I understand it's typical. People want to put animations on everything. You don't need animations on everything. So you could do a group animation, right, where something is as a group, but sometimes animations on everything, unless you're trying to stick with physical points when you're making a presentation, kind of gets silly to a certain point. Eventually becomes a clown show. So you want to make sure you do things tastefully, okay? So an animation has to deal with single elements within the slide. A transition, on the other hand, is a special effect that occurs when you exit one slide and move to the next during a presentation. So say like I wanted to transition onto this slide. So in other words, when slide 1 goes to slide number 2, I wanted a specific transition. So to put that in there, I would go to slide, I would go to transition, and then over here I have some options. Now right now there is no transition when it happens. Again, slide to slide when one ends and one begins. And let's say that I wanted to have an animation in there where it slides. Let's do a slide. Let's do a dissolve. All right, so you can see what that looks like. And I want that dissolve to last 2 seconds so that it brings emphasis to the dissolving. All right. And then I'm going to hit the play so you can see what that looks like. And there is that dissolve. So in other words, now when I launch my slideshow, and so like we're doing the presentation, okay, we're going to hit stop. All right, and we're doing our slideshow. It's like we're presenting our information, right? I go to the next slide, and suddenly we see that dissolve. All right, so that one slide faded or dissolved into the other slide itself. And of course, when you dissolve, there's several different options that you'll have, like adjusting the time as you saw there. You can do a slide left to right, you can do a flip, you can do an appear, just what have you, okay? Or a fade from one to the other, that sort of thing. And you could generally set the time for that or what have you. Well, let's see what cube is. I'm kind of curious to see what cube is. I'm going to hit play. Oh, there it is. There's the cube. All right. So you can kind of see what things do from there. Kind of a neat little effect. Again, I wouldn't over abuse transitions because eventually you can't have too much going on. Slide from left to right. And of course, you can just play around with this and see things. Sometimes setting the time too long can be distracting, etc. All right. Now, again, an animation is something that happens within the slide. All right. So say like I was presenting this information, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add an animation for this text, okay? I'm going to go ahead and hit animation, and I want that to appear on the click, right? And I want that to appear by paragraph. In other words, when I click the button, I go transition over to the screen, it's going to remain blank. And then when I click, these things are going to appear. And I'm going to choose the by paragraph button. And actually, let me deselect that, and you'll see what it does. So I'm going to hit play here. The screen comes up. It waits for me to click, and both of those appear at the same time. Well, that's awesome. But what if I were to do that by paragraph? Well, watch this. All right, the screen transitions over, okay, and it's waiting for my click. I click. It does just the one section, and then 2, it does the second section. So if you were presenting the information to us, you could hold off information, drive in your key point, and then bring your next point up to see. All right. So again, what we've covered the basics of themes, the very basics of how to make the themes fit what we're going for and make things stand out, and of course, transitions and animations. I hope that helped out, and I hope that you're able to apply that for your future slides when you create those as you move forward.